I love waking up and knowing that college football season is here, baby. We are back.
It is back.
We are back. There are so many words I want to use to describe my feelings right now. We got 21 college football games tonight, starting in 1 hour and 59 minutes when Howard takes on Rutgers, baby. 5 o'clock Central kickoff. Let's get it going.
Howard and Rutgers.
And college football season is here, and we got a full weekend of games. Hutton, I am pumped.
No doubt, man. So think about the matchups for week one across college football. There are coaches under a lot of pressure that will kick off their season tonight in some must-win season moments. Maybe must-win month coming up for some. There are tone-setting games in week one. There are SEC and ACC showdowns that will be featured quite a bit that will define week one. And we've got your man cave games for you each and every week on the show. The games that you cannot miss. It is time for Chad Withrow's top 10 games of the college football weekend.
Need more reasons to watch college football? It's time to bang some hats. Here's Chad Withrow's must-see games this weekend.
I'm just hearing that big voice.
Yes.
Hearing this music, knowing that I'm about to reveal the first top 10 college football games of the weekend for the 2024 season gets me tingly all over. It's the opposite sensation I got when I heard whatever the hell that ESPN college football theme is for SEC on ESPN. It is not the CBS, the SEC on CBS theme. I will tell you that. Did not get the same feeling when I heard it. Let's get excited all together, all at once, as we give you the top 10 games of week one of the college football season, starting with number 10. Hutton, number 10. We got to span the weekend. We got to go from the start tonight to the end on Labor Day, Monday night. The only game on Labor Day, Boston College at number 10, Florida State. Big-time bounce-back opportunity for Florida State. It's not a bounce-back opportunity. It's not like this is a game that people aren't expecting them to win. This is a salvage the early part of the season moment or watch things spiral out of control. They're going from Dublin back to Tallahassee, and they're going to take on Bill O'Brien in his debut. That's right, that Bill O'Brien now coaching at Boston College, going to Tallahassee to take on Florida State. The Noles, a 13.5-point favorite in this one, Hutton, and I think it's one that you should keep an eye on. I think Florida State likely rolls, but it's a big one.
It's a defining game from this aspect. There is the reality setting in for Florida State at 0-1 and what could be a very disappointing season. But there also needs to be the sense of urgency of improvement. And can Mike Norvell get that through his coaching staff down to the players and be ready to rock and roll in what is another sold-out game for Florida State? We'll see. I tend to lean towards Norvell doing it and coaching the proper way to get this from his players. I like Florida State big, but I like them in week 1 too, or week 0, whatever we're going to refer to that Georgia Tech game as.
Also interesting on Boston College, you had a head coach in Jeff Hafley who left for an assistant job in the NFL to get away from college football in the current way college football is set up. Then you got Bill O'Brien, who had a lot of success in the NFL and had a lot of success bringing Penn State back from death when he took that job. And he's going from NFL to college football and wanting to get back into the college game. So, interesting.
And they've got a defensive coordinator at Boston College that's been in the XFL, the UFL, been all over. And they've been watching film on all of that at Florida State. And Bill O'Brien, his system, more like Georgia Tech than it is what we would see out west, right? With some of the coaches there. It's a fascinating matchup for the Seminoles.
A lot of urgency for Florida State. I can't really think of the last time I've thought about Boston College and urgency when it comes to football.
Same.
But, hey, good
Matt
opportunity in game 1. There's a few opportunities in game 1 at a current job for some coaches on this list. Let's go to number 9, game of the week. Right here in Nashville, where we're hosting this show right now, Virginia Tech at Vanderbilt. Virginia Tech, a sleeper favorite by some to maybe win the ACC. They got a terrific defense. This is year 3 now for Brent Pry. We've had him on this show. He's excited about what he has. Everybody's excited to watch Kyron Drones, their quarterback. On the flip side, you got a Vanderbilt team that has done a complete makeover. Extreme makeover, New Mexico State edition for Vanderbilt. They basically brought in New Mexico State's offense. Yes, that same offense that went on the road and upset Auburn on homecoming a year ago before the Iron Bowl. Diego Pavia, a quarterback to watch for Vanderbilt, coming over for New Mexico State. Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator there, coming to Vanderbilt also. This is going to be, I believe, Hutton, a very, very close game. I think Virginia Tech finds a way to win, but I do think Vanderbilt's going to be much improved on offense, and Clark Lee deciding to take back control of the defense will help them defensively. Do I think Vanderbilt's going to win a bunch of games this year? Absolutely not. I think they're going to be lucky to win 3 or 4 when you look at their schedule. But this is going to be a sneaky good game. 14-point favorite for Virginia Tech in this one in Nashville. But I think Vandy keeps this thing close throughout.
I like your confidence. What I don't like is the fact that Vanderbilt lost all Division I Power 5 games last year by at least double digits.
That's not good. So, for those that don't understand math, that's not a good stat to have.
And Virginia Tech started 2-4 and then finished 7-6. They improved throughout the season. Well, this will be a if that happens, what you're saying in this game, that it's a very sneaky good game, that means that Clark Lee is doing a better job with the rebuild than I thought or think he's doing.
Well,
currently.
It means Clark Lee likely made a mistake by just not taking over the defense in the beginning and being his own defensive coordinator, if they're able to hang in with that level. This game, by the way, Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN. Game number 8, North Carolina, a 2-point favorite on the road at Minnesota. I note that North Carolina is a 2-point favorite because a year ago in this game in Chapel Hill, the Tar Heels won it 31-13. North Carolina's got a great offense. This is a matchup of Max quarterbacks. Max Johnson versus Max Brosmer. Max Johnson, a transfer from Texas A&M, started his career at LSU, the son of Brad Johnson, longtime NFL quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback Brad Johnson while he was at Tampa Bay. And then you got Max Brosmer coming in from New Hampshire, where the guy threw for almost 9,000 yards and 70 touchdowns.
What?
In FCS at New Hampshire. That's right.
Backyard football.
I think that's a career stat, but I really didn't dive into it too much. But it sounds better if it was in one season. But either way,
9,000 yards.
Max Brosmer can sling the pill around, is what I'm telling you. And I think Minnesota's offense is better. A year ago, North Carolina kind of suffocated the game out of them. Very low possessions, winning 31-13. Drake May was terrific on third down. This is a different North Carolina offense. They lost a lot. Hutton, I like the Gophers tonight in a Thursday night game. This game, by the way, on Fox tonight, 7 o'clock Central Time.
Mac Brown, since he started at UNC in 2019, is 4-1 in season openers. Love that. No, I'm not going to go through the season opening competition for him. But I also know that Minnesota cannot have exercise for disciplinary reasons. You can't row the boat
disciplinary exercise.
Yeah, you can't have exercise for discipline.
Can't run the stadium stairs.
I don't like that.
All things illegal.
I bet Mac Brown could run players for discipline if he wanted to. That's the perception of the game for me. Tar Heels.
Mac Brown seems like a coach who still withholds water from his players when necessary, and demands that they take salt tablets at some point.
And he's willing to call out the NCAA.
Yeah, potassium. You know, you got to get everything going. Very, very old school Mac Brown, but I love the guy. Mac Brown, well liked in all circles. One of those guys, very senatorial, the way he carries himself. Yes. I feel like an old Southern senator. That's the way I like to think of my Mac Brown. I think they're going to get beat though tonight at Minnesota in a slight upset, as North Carolina's a 2-point favorite. Game number 7. I think this is one no one's really talking about, but could be the sneaky best college football game of the weekend. UNLV at Houston. This is the debut of the Willie Fritz era in Houston. He takes over for Dana Holgorsen, coming over from Tulane, where he did a terrific job. And then you got Barry Odom on the other sideline for UNLV. Barry Odom did very well at Missouri. Barry Odom's done very well at UNLV. He's known for defense. This UNLV program known for offense. 3-way race for the starting quarterback. We got a bunch of oars. It's just like PJ Fleck and row your boat, because we got or on the depth chart at quarterback for UNLV. 3 guys. Don't know who's going to start on Saturday. We do know who's going to start for Houston. It's Donovan Smith coming back at quarterback, a great player. Right now, Houston a 2.5-point favorite. Hutton, I'm going to load it up. I don't have blood bank guarantees like Clay Travis, but if I had one, this is as close as I'd get to giving you one. UNLV outright. Winner, money line, they're going to go into Houston. I think they win convincingly in this game.
And that means they're on their way to their first winning season in a while. In fact, they've had one winning season since 2002.
Yeah.
It's been a while. 7-6 that year. Meanwhile, Willie Fritz, with the returning starter at quarterback, normally with all the hype and the anticipation, you take care of business.
Houston's cupboard is pretty bare. I don't think this is
UNLV's?
a great roster that they're inheriting. Now, yeah, it's comparable to UNLV roster for sure. One being in the Big 12, one not, one in the Mountain West. But I like UNLV to come in and spring a slight upset in this one. Everyone's talking upset in our next game. Everyone's talking about this game. Everyone seems to hate Deion Sanders. That's game number 6, at least according to Deion Sanders. Hey, he said it. They're everybody's Super Bowl, right? It was him or one of his players. Shedeur Sanders maybe said it. Someone said it. Well, Shedeur. It is. In this case, this is true. This is North Dakota State's Super Bowl in this game. And yes, they are going to be possibly playing for an FCS national title, but this is the game right now where they could be on the national map. They got a good shot. That line, the money is going towards Colorado as the game gets closer to kickoff. This game tonight, 7 o'clock Central Time on ESPN. Colorado now a 10.5-point favorite in this one. Big question. Has Colorado's line play improved enough? They were horrendous on the offensive and defensive line a year ago. They went back into the portal for a complete makeover. Did they improve enough? They have 2 great incoming players at receiver. Will Shepard, who is Vanderbilt's leading receiver, is going to be a star starting tonight. And LeJontay Wester from Florida Atlantic, another guy to watch. I think Shedeur Sanders combined with those receivers and Travis Hunter is going to be too much for an outmatched North Dakota State secondary. But North Dakota State can run the ball. They can stop the run. Colorado can't run at all. We saw that a year ago. So it's just going to have to be Shedeur Sanders and those receivers going to town. And that offensive line for Colorado holding up against a really good North Dakota State pass rush. Hutton, I can't wait to watch.
Same. And if it's just about Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and the talent, they should win this game easily. Easily. But Vegas tends to know. I've been intrigued about this game for weeks, and it's because of the opening spread. We knew the line was going to rise because you've got the public saying 8.5 points. What? And now it's gone up. But this should be a 14.5-point spread or something like that, based on the trends of the rest of college football, and it's not. And that, to me, says North Dakota State comes in, slows the game down, new timing rules. We saw how many total possessions in Florida State, Georgia Tech. Again, 2 top first-round caliber players for Colorado. And I'm not talking about the offensive line. It's not like they have 2 offensive linemen going first round. At quarterback and at wide receiver / corner. This should be a layup. It should be. I know North Dakota State's good. If Colorado is all about who Deion says they are, this should be a layup. And I don't want to see dancing on the grave of North Dakota State if Colorado wins by 20+, which it kind of feels like he's about to do that, even though it's the FCS opponent.
I bet Colorado minus 10.5. I wish I would have taken it 8.5 where it was earlier this week. But by the way, Cam Miller, we talked so much about Shedeur Sanders, terrific, possibly NFL caliber quarterback for North Dakota State as well. So a player to watch in this game.
Either way, huge storylines post-game.
Yeah.
Either way.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. Number 5, game of the week, the big noon kickoff to the season. West Virginia hosting Penn State. Number 8 Penn State at West Virginia. The Mountaineers have a terrific offensive line. 3 of their offensive linemen on the preseason all Big 12 conference team. So they can run the football. They can protect Garrett Green. This is going to be a huge challenge because Penn State will get after you defensively. And they will get after your offensive line. They've proven that year after year under James Franklin. They've also proven year after year under James Franklin very inconsistent offensively, which is odd for an offensive-minded head coach in Franklin who came up through the ranks as an offensive coordinator. They go to Kansas, and they snipe Lance Leipold's offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, this offseason. How does he pair with Drew Aller in game number 1? Another sneaky, really good, really close game, I think. It's only an 8-point line for Penn State. I think West Virginia's got a great shot in this one. I think West Virginia is kind of like the Virginia Tech outsider's chance at winning the Big 12. What Virginia Tech is in the ACC. I think West Virginia could be in the Big 12 as well as one of my teams to watch that is outside the top 25 that could enter the top 10 nationally. And if they're going to do that, Hutton, it starts with an upset win at home over Penn State on Saturday. I think they're capable of doing it.
I always buy into the hype of Penn State, and I'm always let down. But I'm always rewarded if I buy into the hype against an unranked opponent. They've won 21 straight against an unranked opponent at Penn State. The new offensive coordinator, Koltanicki, he's known for getting the very best out of dual-threat quarterbacks. Drew Aller, though, is a statue.
He is.
And what's the pairing like? That comes down to that. The Nittany Lions.
He'll run a little bit, but yeah, he's not known as the most mobile.
If Penn State opens with like a 10-0 lead, it's 10-zip first quarter, game's over. But the longer this game draws out, West Virginia is going to make Chad Withrow a little bit of cash.
It's also, you look at Penn State's schedule, and some teams you think, boy, this is going to be a death blow if they lose this one. But I look at Penn State. There's another team, number one on my list coming later, that I also look at and think, even if they lose this game, is it really going to matter? Because the schedule sets up so favorably, they're probably only going to lose one, maybe two more.
It matters
could
for
still
James
be
Franklin,
in the playoff.
Right? It should.
It matters. But for the playoff, I'm not saying that it's over for the playoff if they lose this game because the way the schedule sets up, but they need to win it. This is a team they blew out a year ago. Yes, they're going on the road, but they're an 8-point favorite on the road. They need to win this game.
And Drew Aller does not turn the football over all that much. That's a point in Penn State's favor, too. To me, it screams Nittany Lions.
So game number 5.
Yes.
Game number 4. We're already number 4. It's Yabo Dabo Do time, baby. Clemson against Georgia in Atlanta. Neutral site. Both schools are pretty close. Not that far to Clemson either. Certainly not far to Athens, Georgia, from the city of Atlanta. There will be more Georgia fans in the building. There's going to be a lot of Clemson fans in Atlanta, too, though. Make no mistake about that. The problem with Clemson in this game, and I love Clemson on the season. I think they're going to win the ACC. They're very talented. They're very young. Their defensive line and defensive front with their linebackers also. Very talented, very young. Very young and very inexperienced is not a spot you want to be in against Georgia's offensive line, which is loaded with future NFL players on the offensive line. I think Georgia's going to systematically control this game on the ground. I think it's going to be a classic Kirby Smart style beatdown by about 24 points when all is said and done, but it's never going to feel in doubt. I think Georgia wins big in this game, Hutton, but when you get teams number 14, number 1 in the country going head-to-head in week 1, it's going to be in your top 5. But even though I like Clemson on the season, I don't like Clemson at all in this game.
Clemson itself is deserving of a matchup in the top 5. Georgia and Clemson. Because Clemson, Dabo does things differently. Clemson remains one of the relevant programs competing at the top of college football going into the season. And this is a good barometer for where they match up against the new Goliath. Clemson 10 years ago was among the 2 programs that was going to win the title. It was them and Alabama. Now it's Georgia that you have to knock off. And that goes without saying with their roster, year in and year out. They have won 39 straight regular season games. They'll be the first program since like the 50s to win 40 straight with the win over Clemson. 40 straight regular season games is insane. And here's Clemson with Dabo Swinney doing it his way, now not wanting to take calls from the fan base, there's coach's show, because negativity's creeping in, even though since their last national title, they've only lost 13 games total, which is odd. But there's an irritant.
Hutton,
there's an irritant in the air.
Let me go ahead.
If they're beat down by Georgia, oh man, the heat from the fan base is going to be at a level we shouldn't see
Hutton,
for a coach the caliber of Dabo Swinney.
Let me go ahead and forewarn you.
Go ahead.
Okay, because you said it about Deion in Colorado. If Colorado wins, Deion is going to go on a tear in that post-game press conference after beating an FCS opponent, and he's going to call out everyone. If Clemson upsets Georgia, Dabo Swinney may torch Atlanta like Sherman did on his march to the sea before he goes back to Clemson. He is going to go scorched earth on everybody if they win this game and talk about how much he's right and everyone else in college football is wrong about his program. He is going to eat it up if Clemson's able to upset Georgia in this game. So
and
that could be fun to watch.
Everyone's going to be street racing in Athens if Georgia loses.
Yes.
And if Clemson wins the game, Chad, final thought.
Unfortunately, they will.
If Clemson wins this game, think about what it means for the college football playoff expansion to 12 games. We're going to have – which program's going to be talking about – we're going to have Shane Beamer in South Carolina all of a sudden.
Shane Beamer.
Expecting to be in the college football playoff. It's wide open if Georgia loses this game because they have their top 4 conference games are on the road.
Yeah.
Toughest.
I think they're going to be on the verge of maybe out if they lose this game. But the opposite, when you look at their schedule versus other ones,
winning, right?
Gets very easy. Georgia's going to win big, so it's not going to matter. Game number 3. I'm going to give you a surprise winner in this one, too.
Yeah.
Number 19, Miami, a 2.5-point favorite at Florida. Saturday, 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. A big ABC triple header. This is part of it. There's a lot of Pacific Northwest flavor for the Miami Hurricanes. All the way across the country, Cam Ward comes in from Washington State. Damian Martinez comes in at running back from Oregon State. Their backfield is loaded with talent from what was the Pac-12, the left-behind schools in the Pac-12. They're going to make their debut for the Miami Hurricanes. Graham Mertz a year ago, all this, much maligned Florida, Billy Napier, the offense, everything else. Graham Mertz, 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 73% passing. Granted, they're not throwing the ball down the field a lot, but 73% of your passes, pretty impressive.
That's good.
He's back for Florida. He did a good job a year ago. Which defensive line dominates in this game? Which defense comes out for Florida? A year ago in week 3, Florida's defenses stifled Josh Heupel in Tennessee at home. Stifled them. Dominated the game up front. That high-powered Tennessee offense could do nothing. Florida's pretty good early in the season. Give me the Gators at home. I think for one weekend, they're going to shut everyone up. And I think they win going away, Hutton. I'm not just going – I think they win by double digits.
Wow.
At home against Miami. I'm not a Mario Cristobal believer. I think Florida's good early this season. I think they taper off when that schedule gets tougher. I think injuries will pile up like they have on the offensive line in years past, but their offensive line is currently healthy. I think their defensive line is better than Miami's. I think they win up front. Graham Mertz has experience. They're at home. It's going to be a rowdy atmosphere. Give me the Gators over Miami.
So I want to buy in and all that. The time to load up on Florida is right now because
it's not later.
The gauntlet schedule starts. You're not in the middle of the gauntlet schedule. They've lost 5 games in a row now. They're trying to break that streak. It's been a while since Florida fans have been able to celebrate. It happens early in the season, as Chad mentioned. You take Florida if you believe that Cam Ward is DJU. If you buy into that, take the Gators. And if you think Cam Ward takes Miami to another level, the Hurricanes win this game on the road. To me, it comes down to that.
I think it's going to be a terrific atmosphere.
Cristobal's 12-13 since he arrived there.
It's one of those fun games for everyone not attached to it. If you don't have a dog in the hunt, it's a dreadful game. If you're a Florida or Miami fan, I mean, college football has a way to rip your heart out more than any other sport, and it's gut-wrenching. If you're a fan of one of those schools, you hate this matchup. Everyone else, sit back and enjoy. Get your popcorn ready because the loser of this game, their fan base will feel like their program is dead.
Hey.
It's like the death penalty for either one of these programs in a loss in this
Everyone's
game.
been saying if Napier can get to 7-5, he can save his job. If he loses this game, I don't know if he can get to 7-5 period or even to the end of the season because the losses start to pile up. Yeah, I love this game.
It really is. A lot of games you look at and say, okay, whoever wins, this team has nothing to lose or everything to lose. The flip, to me, it's the same for both these teams. It is loser of this game feels absolutely miserable for the missed opportunity. If Florida loses, they start looking at the rest of the schedule and say, boy, we're going to not win many, and Billy Napier's going to get fired. If Miami loses, they're going to say, oh, this is the same guy who tried to run the ball when he could have taken a knee a year ago and lost a game for us. And now he can't beat Florida, our in-state rival, even when Florida looks dead under Billy Napier.
Yes.
Loser's going to be in a bad way in this one. Game number 2 as we roll along. Sunday night, number 23 USC taking on number 13 LSU. This game is in Vegas, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. A couple new defensive coordinators. DeAnton Lynn for USC. Blake Baker comes over from Missouri to LSU. A lot of high hopes for those guys taking over bad defenses. LSU couldn't stop the run a year ago. USC couldn't stop anything a year ago, run or pass. Miller Moss looked great in the bowl game at quarterback for USC. He's the starter now for the Trojans, taking over for Caleb Williams. And then you got Garrett Nussmeier coming in for Jaden Daniels, who's off to the NFL with the Washington Commanders. Hutton, this is big-time star power in this game. Huge proving ground game for Lincoln Riley and really for Brian Kelly to an extent as well. LSU's a 4-point favorite in this one. I can't wait.
The winner of this game begins to receive mention for the college football playoff.
They begin their receiving line.
This is where
the reception.
The debate is no longer about the 4 or 5 programs that we knew were going to represent the 14 playoff. These programs here, with a win in week 1, start the college football debate by week 5 of whether or not they're making a run to get into the back end of the college football playoff and potentially even host a game.
So game number 1, Hutton, there's no, we've gone through the list. There's no denying it. Colin here in studio, he knows exactly what game I'm going to. His Fighting Irish of Notre Dame going to College Station to take on number 20, Texas A&M. A&M now up to a 3-point favorite in this game over number 7, Notre Dame. So not going to be some big shock if Mike Elko and A&M wins this game. Crazy stat in this one. Notre Dame's offensive line has a combined 6 starts between them. First time the Irish will not start a senior on the offensive line since the year of my birth, 1982. And now everyone can do the math on how old that makes me. That's a long time. That's a lot of inexperience on an offensive line that is going to be going head-to-head with, remember this name for A&M, Nick Scourton, transfer for Purdue. He had 10 sacks a year ago as sort of a flex interior defensive lineman and rush edge player. He's a dynamite player. He's going to introduce himself to the college football world in a high-profile program now, like Texas A&M. I think A&M is going to get all over Notre Dame and their new quarterback, Riley Leonard, in this one. I'm having a hard time picking the winner in this one, Hutton. I think it's a low-possession, low-scoring game. Field position's going to matter, but it's a big one for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame.
It's not going to be a fun game for either offense facing these defenses. And is there a better coach to stop Riley Leonard than Mike Elko? He knows
the weaknesses, that's for sure.
He knows.
Played for him at Duke.
I think the home crowd matters too here. There's something about College Station that works. It works. Miami found out firsthand.
Yeah.
Early last season.
I should also mention Al Golden's defense for Notre Dame, also terrific.
Yeah.
Mike Elko, great defensive mind. Al Golden, now in year 3 at Notre Dame, has done a great job with the Irish. That defense is stout like all the Guinnesses that Pat McAfee drank in Ireland last week. So this is going to be a big-time game. I love that it's the primetime night game on ABC on Saturday night. Hutton, it's a good first weekend of college football.
Man. It's solid, and I love the fact that there's some matchups in here that don't even really factor into the college football playoff discussion.
Yeah.
And you've got that in week 1 with the drama.
And every year we know there's going to be some surprises. There's going to be some Power 5, Power 4 now, power conference teams that get upset by someone no one's looking at right now. There's going to be games going into the fourth quarter that are very close that no one's expecting. Having said all of that, there's a clear 10 games this week. I went through every game, and I wrote out 10. There were no other ones that even missed the cut. I don't have no honorable mentions, nothing else. Like, these 10 games are super, and the rest of them, while there will be some surprises, they're cupcakes. There's a lot of people easing into the season outside of these 10 games.